The massive screen in Earth's Defense Command Center lit up with an incoming transmission. Admiral James Walker stood straight, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he watched the alien message play. Around him, the command staff held their breath. "Greetings, primitive species of Earth," the alien figure announced. Its blue-skinned face showed what humans would later learn was their version of a condescending smile. "I am High Commander Marcus of the Galactic Empire. Your world has been chosen to join our glorious civilization." Walker didn't flinch. For decades, humanity had prepared for this moment. Their telescopes had tracked the Empire's ships. Their decoded transmissions had revealed the fate of other worlds. 47 species across 300 star systems had fallen to the Empire's diplomatic offerings. "You have 24 Earth hours to prepare your surrender ceremony," Marcus continued. "Resistance is." He paused, checking a translator device. "Not recommended." The transmission ended. Walker turned to face the assembled military leaders from Earth's combined forces. General Reed from Ground Forces Command spoke first. "They have no idea, do they?" "No," Walker replied, a slight smile crossing his face. "They really don't." While the Empire's ships approached Earth, thinking themselves hidden, hundreds of quantum sensors tracked their every move. The aliens didn't know that Earth had reversed-engineered technology from a crashed scout ship 30 years ago. They didn't know about the massive underground cities, the orbital defense platforms hidden in asteroid shells, or the quantum-shielded fleet waiting in the dark side of Mars. "Sir," a young officer called out, "Empire ships are launching smaller vessels. Looks like they're sending their diplomatic team." Walker nodded. "Right on schedule. Let's give them a proper Earth welcome." The Empire's diplomatic shuttle landed at the designated site in Geneva. Their delegation, led by Ambassador Rex, walked with the confidence of those who had never known defeat. They saw the human honor guard and mistook their discipline for fear. Inside the United Earth Council chamber, representatives from every nation waited. The aliens noticed the primitive projectile weapons the guards carried and dismissed them as ceremonial. They didn't recognize the neural-linked targeting systems or the nano-enhanced bullets in their chambers. Ambassador Rex spoke first, his translator converting his words to English. "We are pleased by your quick compliance. The Empire brings civilization to primitive worlds. Your species will benefit greatly from our guidance." Walker stepped forward to the podium. The Empire's delegation hadn't bothered to study human body language, so they missed the predatory glint in his eyes. "The United Earth Council thanks you for your offer," Walker began, his voice calm. "Before you continue, we believe you should review some information about our species." The massive screen behind him came to life. It showed scenes from human history, armies clashing across centuries, navies battling on vast oceans, aircraft dueling in the skies. The Empire's delegation watched with growing confusion as the images continued. Nuclear explosions, space warfare simulations, quantum shield tests. "Humanity," Walker continued, "is unique among the species you've encountered. We split the atom 80 years ago. We fought wars that spanned the globe. We've developed weapons that can destroy planets." He paused, letting that sink in. "And those are just our old technologies." Ambassador Rex laughed, but there was uncertainty in his voice. "You think your primitive weapons concern us. The Empire has conquered worlds far more advanced than yours." Walker's smile grew wider. "That's why we're warning you now. You see, we've studied your empire. You've never faced a species that evolved on a high-gravity death world. You've never fought anyone who turned their entire planet into a fortress. And you've never, ever encountered a species that invented weapons specifically for fighting other species before even meeting them." The alien delegation shifted uncomfortably as more images played behind Walker: orbital defense platforms, quantum-shielded warships, and armies of mechanized infantry. "This isn't a surrender ceremony," Walker declared. "This is a warning. Check your history, Ambassador. Humans don't surrender. We fight. And when we fight," he let the words hang in the air, "we win." The Empire's delegation left Earth that day in a hurry, their certainty shaken for the first time in 10,000 years. They didn't see the massive fleet emerging from behind Mars. They didn't notice the weapon systems locking onto their ships. They would learn soon enough. Humanity had warned them to run. They really should have listened. 3 days after the first meeting, the Empire's ships returned in greater numbers. This time, High Commander Marcus himself came to Earth. The Empire's leader hadn't slept well since watching the reports from his diplomatic team. Something about these humans bothered him, but he couldn't understand what. The meeting room in the Geneva complex was different this time. Gone were the ceremonial trappings. Instead, military leaders from Earth's major powers sat around a massive table, their faces stern and focused. Holographic displays showed Earth's defensive capabilities without trying to hide them. "You dare to threaten the Empire?" Marcus spoke first, his voice sharp. "We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our ships." Admiral Walker stood up slowly. Behind him, the wall-sized screen came to life again. "Let me tell you a story, Commander Marcus. The story of why you should run." The screen showed footage from World War I soldiers in trenches, poison gas clouds, the first tanks rolling across battlefields. This was us, fighting ourselves, over 100 years ago. Marcus started to speak, but Walker raised his hand. "Wait. Watch." World War I footage began playing. Nuclear explosions lit up the screen. Massive air battles darkened the skies. Entire cities lay in ruins. 20 years later, we did this, to ourselves, because that's what humans do. We fight, we learn, and we get better at fighting. The Empire's delegation shifted uncomfortably as modern warfare appeared on screen. Hypersonic missiles, drone swarms, orbital strikes. "This is us now," Walker continued. "But here's the interesting part." Dr. Emma Stone, Earth's leading weapons scientist, stepped forward. "Every weapon you've seen was designed to fight other humans. Imagine what we've created specifically for alien threats." The screen changed again. This time, it showed Earth's hidden defenses. Quantum-shielded battleships emerged from underground bases, mechanized infantry suits that could fight in any environment, AI-controlled defense systems that could think faster than organic brains. "You conquered 47 species," Walker said, his voice cold. "Peaceful species, agricultural species, species that never had to fight for survival. But Earth is different." General Reed activated a hologram showing Earth's gravity compared to other known inhabited worlds. "Your soldiers evolved on low-gravity worlds. They'd never faced warriors born in Earth's gravity. Your ships were designed to fight slow, predictable enemies. You've never dealt with humans." The screen displayed scenes from Earth's Special Forces training. Soldiers running in powered armor, fighting in extreme conditions, adapting to impossible situations. "This is how we train. Not for parades, not for show, but for war." Marcus stood up, trying to hide his growing concern. "The Empire does not tolerate threats. Submit or face destruction." Walker smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You still don't understand. Let me be clearer." He pressed a button, and new images appeared. Massive underground cities, fully armed and shielded. Orbital weapon platforms disguised as asteroids. Fleets of stealth ships hiding in plain sight. "We've been preparing for this moment since we first looked at the stars. Every child on Earth grows up knowing aliens might come. Every soldier trains to fight enemies from other worlds. We split the atom as a weapon. We went to space as a military goal. Everything humans have ever done was to be ready for this day." Dr. Stone stepped forward again. "And here's what you really should worry about. We adapt. Every time you attack, we'll learn. Every weapon you use, we'll counter. Every strategy you try, we'll overcome. And then we'll come for you." The room fell silent. The Empire's delegation looked at each other nervously. Their reports had clearly missed something important about these humans. "This is your final warning. Walker said quietly. "Leave Earth alone. Tell your empire to stay away. Because if you start this fight," he let the words hang in the air, "you won't survive what happens next." As the empire's leaders left the meeting, they tried to maintain their dignified pose, but everyone saw their hands shaking. For the first time in their long history, the empire faced an enemy that wasn't afraid. They should have listened to the warning. They should have run. Instead, they chose war. The empire struck at dawn. Their target was simple, a small mining colony on the dark side of the moon. High Commander Marcus wanted to show these humans the price of defiance. 3 of his most powerful warships moved into position, their energy weapons charged to full power. "Fire," Marcus ordered, expecting to see the colony explode into space debris. Nothing happened. The energy beams hit the colony and simply disappeared. On the moon's surface, the miners didn't even pause their work. Their quantum shields, hidden beneath a holographic image of primitive dome structures, absorbed the Empire's most powerful weapons like they were nothing. In Earth's Defense Command Center, Admiral Walker watched the attack on his screens. "They took the bait," he said calmly. "Launch Operation First Lesson." Hidden beneath the lunar surface, doors slid open. 20 small ships emerged, each barely larger than a fighter. The Empire's sensors didn't even register them as threats. Their automatic defenses ignored the approaching craft, programmed to only track large warships. That was their first mistake. "Human vessels detected," one of Marcus's officers reported lazily. "Primitive design. No energy weapons. No threat to our shields." Marcus smiled. These humans would learn their place. Let them come. Show them how foolish. He never finished his sentence. The small human ships launched their weapons, quantum torpedoes designed to pass through energy shields like they didn't exist. The Empire had never seen this technology before. They had no defense against it. The first Imperial warship split in half, its reactor going dark. The second lost all power, its crew floating helplessly in space. The third, Marcus's flagship, took a direct hit to its command center. "Impossible," Marcus shouted as alarms blared around him. "Their weapons? They can't. We are the Empire." Walker's voice came through on all frequencies. "We warned you. That was just our first lesson. Would you like to learn more?" In orbit around Earth, thousands of asteroids suddenly moved. Their rocky surfaces fell away, revealing Earth's real defense fleet. Each ship was smaller than the Empire's vessels, but packed with technologies the aliens had never imagined. "All ships, combat formation," Walker commanded. "Show them why you don't attack a human colony." The battle that followed lasted exactly 7 minutes. Earth's ships moved in ways that defied Imperial combat doctrine. They appeared and disappeared, using quantum tunneling technology that the Empire thought was impossible. Their weapons ignored shields. Their defenses adapted to every attack. In the lunar colony, the miners watched through reinforced windows as humanity's first space battle played out above them. Many smiled, remembering the years of drills, the hidden bunkers, the weapons they had helped build while pretending to just dig for minerals. "Status report," Walker demanded as the last echo of battle faded. "Enemy fleet neutralized, sir," his tactical officer reported. 17 Empire ships disabled. 3 destroyed when they tried to self-destruct. No casualties on our side. The lunar colony reports all systems normal. Walker nodded. "Send the recovery teams. I want every piece of their technology collected and analyzed. And broadcast this on all frequencies." He turned to face the main camera. "Attention, Galactic Empire. You just attacked a mining colony. A simple mining colony. And you saw what happened. That was our smallest defense fleet, using our oldest weapons. Would you like to see what our main battle groups can do?" In his crippled flagship, Marcus watched Earth's real fleet emerge from hiding. Thousands of ships, each more advanced than anything the Empire had. His hand shook as he realized the truth. These humans hadn't been bluffing. "Signal our surrender," he whispered. But Walker wasn't finished. "You have 6 hours to remove every Empire ship from the Sol system. After that, we start hunting. And remember, what you saw today was us being merciful. Tomorrow, we might not be." The Empire's ships fled in panic, many damaging their engines in their rush to escape. Behind them, Earth's forces began to mobilize. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was ready. The Empire's full invasion fleet arrived 3 days later. 10,000 ships filled the space around Jupiter, their golden hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. High Commander Marcus had been replaced. His successor, Commander Roland, was determined to restore the Empire's honor. "This is your final chance to surrender," Roland broadcast to Earth. "We have brought enough ships to darken your skies." In the Defense Command Center, Admiral Walker watched with his command staff. "They still don't understand," he said quietly. "Start the AI defense systems. Show them how humans wage war." The battle began with confusion. The Empire's fleet found their targeting computers failing. Their communication systems filled with ghost signals. Their formation plans somehow leaked to every ship in the wrong order. "What is happening?" Roland demanded as his fleet scattered in chaos. The answer came from Earth's new battle eye, a cold, calculating voice that spoke on all channels. "Your tactics were predictable. We simulated this battle 10,000 times. You lose in every version." Earth's fleet emerged from quantum space, but not as a single unit. They appeared in small groups, striking from impossible angles, vanishing before the Empire could respond. Each human ship moved independently, its AI systems adapting tactics in real time. "They're not fighting like a proper fleet," Roland shouted in frustration. "Where is their battle line? Where is their command structure?" Walker's voice answered him. "We learned war from fighting ourselves. We don't need pretty formations. We need results." That's when Earth's special forces struck. Drop pods launched from stealth ships, bypassing the Empire's defenses completely. Teams of humans in powered armor, born and trained in Earth's heavy gravity, boarded the Empire's largest vessels. The Empire's soldiers had never faced anything like them. Their weapons bounced off the humans' quantum-enhanced armor. Their defensive positions, designed for low-gravity combat, meant nothing to soldiers who could punch through walls. "Sir," Walker's tactical officer reported, "Special Forces have captured 30 capital ships. They're turning the Empire's weapons against their own fleet." The battle spread across the solar system. Human ships used Jupiter's gravity to slingshot into impossible attack positions. They turned asteroid fields into weapon zones, their AI systems calculating paths no organic pilot could follow. Commander Roland watched in horror as his fleet fell apart. The humans weren't fighting like any species the Empire had encountered. Each ship acted independently. Each soldier seemed to have their own mission. There was no central command to disrupt, no battle line to break. "Status report," he demanded. "We've lost 40% of the fleet," his officer replied, voice shaking. "The humans, they're herding us into kill zones. Their ships appear, destroy our weakest vessels, and vanish. We can't track them." On Earth's ships, AI systems continued to adapt. They learned from each Empire tactic, developed counters, and shared them instantly across the human fleet. The Empire's mighty armada found itself being picked apart by an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere. "This is impossible," Roland whispered as another battle group disappeared from his tactical display. "We are the Empire. We've ruled space for 10,000 years. How can they beat us so easily?" The answer came as human ships quantum-tunneled directly into the heart of his formation. "Because," Walker's voice replied, "we've spent our entire history preparing for this moment. While you conquered peaceful races, we practiced war. While you grew comfortable, we stayed hungry. While you forgot how to innovate, we never stopped learning." In just 6 hours, the mighty invasion fleet was reduced to scattered groups of damaged ships. Earth's forces had suffered minimal losses. their quantum shields and AI systems proving far superior to the Empire's ancient technology. "Retreat," Roland finally ordered, his voice broken. "Full retreat to Imperial space." As the Empire's ships fled, Walker sent one final message. "Remember this day. Remember what happened when you chose to fight humanity. And know that we're coming for your Empire next." The Empire had brought their largest fleet to Earth. They had expected an easy victory. Instead, they had learned why humans were the galaxy's greatest warriors. And this was just the beginning. The Empire's War Council gathered in their golden palace on their capital world. Holograms showed the devastating losses they had suffered at Earth. The room was silent as they watched their mighty fleet being torn apart by human forces again and again. "How?" the Empire's Grand Leader asked, his voice barely a whisper. "How did we lose 10,000 ships in one battle?" A new figure stepped forward, Professor Alex Turner, a human prisoner they had captured years before the war. They had kept him as a curiosity, a specimen of a primitive species. Now, they desperately needed his insights. "I tried to warn you," Turner said calmly. "Humans don't think like other species. We don't fight like them either." On the screens around them, Earth's forces launched Operation Thunderstrike. 100 stealth ships appeared in Empire space, striking military bases on 20 worlds simultaneously. Their quantum drives let them bypass every defense system the Empire had built over thousands of years. "Impossible," an Empire general shouted. "They can't have reached our core worlds so quickly." But they had. Human special forces, led by General Reed himself, captured the Empire's largest shipyard in less than an hour. The alien workers watched in shock as Earth troops moved with impossible speed and strength, their gravity-trained bodies making them unstoppable in the low-gravity environment. "You see," Turner continued, "humans have something you forgot long ago: creativity in combat. We don't follow rules in war. We adapt. We improvise. We overcome." Reports flooded in from across Empire space. The species they had conquered over the centuries were rising up. Human ships provided them weapons, training, and support. The Empire's control was crumbling. Admiral Walker's voice broadcasted across every Empire channel. "This is humanity's response to your invasion. You came to our home. You threatened our people. Now you'll learn why that was your biggest mistake." The Empire's latest weapons proved useless against human quantum shields. Their tactics, unchanged for thousands of years, failed against AI-driven combat systems that evolved minute by minute. Their soldiers, used to fighting weaker species, broke against human troops who had trained all their lives for this war. "Tell us how to stop them," the Grand Leader demanded, turning to Turner. Turner laughed. "Stop us? You don't understand. Humans have been dreaming of this moment for centuries. Every war movie, every science fiction story, every military exercise. It was all preparation for fighting aliens. You're not facing an army. You're facing an entire species that grew up expecting this fight." On the strategic displays, human forces advanced across Empire space. Their ships seemed to appear from nowhere, strike with perfect precision, and vanish before the Empire could respond. Their electronic warfare systems shut down entire defense networks. Their quantum communications proved impossible to intercept or block. "But we ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. The Grand Leader protested. "Yes," Turner replied. "You ruled through fear. You conquered peaceful species. You grew comfortable. But humans? We were born in conflict. We survived on a death world. We split the atom just to have a bigger weapon. Did you really think we would be an easy conquest?" The War Council watched as another battle group was lost to human forces. Their ships, once the pride of the galaxy, were being captured or destroyed by an enemy they had dismissed as primitive just weeks ago. "What do they want?" someone finally asked. Turner's answer chilled them to their cores. "They want you to understand your mistake. They warned you to run. You didn't listen. Now they'll dismantle your empire piece by piece, Free every species you enslaved, and make sure you never threaten anyone again." The Empire's leaders sat in stunned silence as more reports of defeats poured in. They had started this war expecting an easy victory over a primitive species. Instead, they had awakened humanity's full military might. And now, they were witnessing what humans had prepared for generations to do: fight a galactic war and win it. 1 month into the war, Earth's forces pushed deep into Empire space. Admiral Walker stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Thunder of Earth, watching as another Empire world came under human control. But this time, something was different. The locals were celebrating in the streets. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're getting messages from 50 different species. They all want to join us against the Empire." Walker smiled. The Empire had ruled through fear for 10,000 years. Now that fear was gone, replaced by hope. Every freed world brought new allies, new resources, and new chances to show the galaxy a better way. On a desert planet called Kex, General Reed's Special Forces found something interesting: an Empire military academy. Inside, they discovered combat manuals that hadn't changed in 5,000 years. The Empire had stopped learning, stopped improving, while humans had never stopped innovating. "Look at this," Reed said to his team, holding up an Empire weapon. "They've used the same design for 3,000 years. They forgot the most important rule of warfare: adapt or die." In orbit above the Empire's capital world, a massive space battle raged. But it wasn't like the battles of old. Human ships danced through space, their AI systems predicting every Empire move before it happened. Their quantum drives let them appear anywhere, strike, and vanish. "Status report," Walker demanded as his fleet engaged the Empire's last defensive line. "Enemy ships are breaking formation," his tactical officer reported with a grin. "They're running scared, sir. Their rigid battle doctrine is falling apart against our adaptive tactics." The Empire's leaders watched in horror from their palace as their mighty space forces crumbled. Their soldiers, trained to fight in strict formations, couldn't handle human warfare. Each Earth ship fought differently. Each human soldier thought independently, and their AI systems evolved faster than the Empire could respond. "We found their weakness," Dr. Emma Stone reported from her research station on Mars. "The Empire relies on central control for everything. Their ships can't fight alone. Their soldiers can't think independently. They're fighting tomorrow's war with yesterday's mindset." The proof of her words played out across the galaxy. Empire commanders, used to receiving exact orders from above, froze when faced with human unpredictability. Their ships, designed to fight in perfect formation, fell into chaos when those formations broke. Their soldiers, trained to follow strict rules, couldn't adapt when humans changed the rules of engagement. "Another Empire battle group has surrendered," Walker's second-in-command reported. "That makes 15 today. The freed species are rising up everywhere. The Empire's trying to fight on 1,000 fronts at once." Walker nodded. The Empire had never faced an enemy like humanity: creative, adaptable, and willing to break every rule of conventional warfare. But more importantly, they had never faced an enemy who treated the conquered species as equals rather than subjects. "Message from the Thunderhawk Squadron," the comm officer announced. "They've captured 3 more Empire shipyards. The local workers are helping them. They say they've been waiting for a chance to fight back for generations." The Empire's perfect order was crumbling. Their rigid military doctrine, once their strength, proved to be their greatest weakness against human adaptability. Their centralized control, meant to ensure obedience, meant that cutting off their command structure left their forces helpless. "Send word to all human forces," Walker ordered. "Phase 3 begins now. Let's show the galaxy what real freedom looks like." Across Empire space, quantum communications spread the word. Human ships appeared above thousands of worlds simultaneously. But they didn't come as conquerors like the Empire. They came as liberators, offering weapons, training, and a chance to fight back. The Empire had ruled the galaxy through fear and rigid control. Humanity offered something different, the chance for every species to stand on their own, to fight their own battles, to be truly free. And the galaxy was choosing humanity's way. The Empire's reign was ending not with a bang, but with the sound of chains breaking across 1,000 worlds. The Empire surrendered on a Tuesday. It seemed almost anticlimactic when their message arrived at Earth's Defense Command Center. After 10,000 years of absolute rule, their final words were simple: "We yield to humanity's terms." Admiral Walker stood in the Grand Hall of the Empire's palace, now renamed the Galactic Council Chamber. Around him, representatives from 50 freed species gathered to decide the future of the galaxy. The Empire's former leaders sat in a small section, no longer wearing their golden robes of power. "The war is over," Walker announced, his voice carrying across the vast chamber. "But our real work is just beginning." Earth's approach to victory surprised everyone. There were no executions, no revenge against the Empire's leaders. Instead, humanity showed something the galaxy had never seen before: mercy in victory. "We're not here to replace one empire with another," Walker continued. "Earth proposes something new: the Galactic Federation of Free Species. Every world governs itself. Every species has a voice, and we all stand together against any future threats." The gathered representatives broke into cheers. The Empire's rigid control was replaced by democracy, their rules of obedience transformed into laws of cooperation. Humanity's greatest victory wasn't winning the war, it was winning the peace that followed. On 1,000 worlds, changes spread quickly. Human teachers shared knowledge that the Empire had hoarded. Earth's scientists worked with alien engineers to improve technology. Special Forces veterans trained local defense forces, ensuring each world could protect itself. "Look at this," General Reed said to his staff, showing them images from across the galaxy. 6 months ago, these species couldn't fight back against the Empire. Now they're building their own ships, developing their own tactics. They just needed a chance to be free. In orbit around Earth, Dr. Emma Stone supervised the construction of the Galactic Defense Academy. Ships from every species arrived, bringing students eager to learn humanity's ways of adaptation and innovation. The Empire's old military doctrine was replaced by something new: creative thinking and independent action. The Empire kept these species weak by making them dependent. Stone explained to the first class of alien cadets, "We'll make the galaxy strong by teaching everyone to stand on their own." The changes weren't just military. Human culture spread across the stars. Music, art, food, and ideas. Species that had been isolated under Empire rule discovered the joy of cultural exchange. Every world added its own unique elements to the growing galactic civilization. Professor Turner, once the Empire's prisoner and now Earth's ambassador to the Federation, smiled as he watched alien children playing in parks that had once been Imperial parade grounds. The Empire never understood, he told a group of visiting diplomats. They thought strength came from control. Humanity showed that real strength comes from freedom. When you let people think for themselves, fight for themselves, live for themselves, that's when they become truly powerful. In the new Galactic Defense Command, Walker looked at reports from across Federation space. The Empire's old territories were transforming. Worlds that had been resource extraction centers became thriving civilizations. Species that had been servants were now equals. "Message from the frontier patrols," his comm officer reported. "Another group of independent worlds wants to join the Federation. They say they want to learn the human way." Walker nodded. The human way. Adaptability, creativity, independence, and most importantly, the balance of strength and mercy. Earth had proved it was possible to be both powerful and kind, both warriors and peacekeepers. The Empire ruled through fear for 10,000 years. Walker said to his staff, "We'll lead through freedom for 10,000 more." Across the galaxy, the stars shone on a new era. The Empire was gone, replaced by something better. Humanity had won not just through superior weapons or tactics, but by offering hope instead of fear, freedom instead of control, unity instead of submission. They had warned the Empire to run. The Empire hadn't listened. But in the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't destroying the old order. It was building a better one.